Dark Specter has finally been resurrected. After years of build-up, Dark Specter will finally be making his appearance in the Power Ranger comics, being the main threat. And this is something that's been built up for the longest time in the Power Ranger comics, as we've heard his name murmured throughout several runs, throughout several story arcs where several villains have feared this guy and its power. And thanks to Mistress Vile obtaining the Zeo Crystal and using the empty shell of Zordon's body, Dark Specter now has a vessel, and it all begins in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 110, the Prelude to Darkest Hour. And Darkest Hour is going to last an entire year. That's right, Darkest Hour is going to go on for an entire year. It kicks off in August 2023, next month, for the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers, and it is going to go on until August 2024. So this is going to be a year-long event, and I'm really, really excited to see what Melissa is going to do for this story arc, because she has been killing it. But not only that, this issue is freaking fantastic, as it shows the despair and the peril that our heroes are in, as Mistress Vile seems like she's already won the battle before it's even began. But not only that, the character drama that everyone's going through, the interactions between all these different characters as they meet, is freaking fantastic. I can't wait to talk about it in this video. So without any further ado, let's talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 110. So the issue kicks off with the Omega Rangers talking about Draken's recent actions and how he told Trini to destroy the Master Arch before Rita could actually use it. And they're trying to figure out what exactly Draken was trying to tell them and why he did the things he did, because he went with Kia of all people. But not only that, he cut off his only way coming back home, which is kind of a weird move to pull off if you're working with Mistress Vile. Zack comes to the conclusion that Draken's crazy because Draken does the things that Draken does because he's Draken, but Trini's trying to come up with the logical answer, trying to come up with what the heck is Draken doing. And then she comes to the conclusion that Draken's scared. He's scared of whatever Rita's going to do. And if Draken is scared, then that means, and as she comes to this conclusion, her eyes are widening as she figures out that shit is gonna go down. And then suddenly, you hear a large explosion. 11 is telling that the Rangers that someone is invading Safe Haven. And as the Omega Rangers run outside, you just see swarms of spaceships coming down to Safe Haven as the invasion has begun. But as the invasion has come, Alpha 1 is taunting 11, saying, I told you that my mistress would come. You guys won't survive this. But you gotta pay attention to what Alpha 1 is doing right now, because it looks like that he's slowly putting himself back together, which is something that comes into play later in this issue as they're trying to get in contact with him. But this invasion that Mistress Vile has got going on, her army that she's built up, is freaking insane. Now, Rita isn't fucking around when it comes to invading Safe Haven. The army that they've brought with them is freaking nuts. So, we've got the Death Ranger. The Death Ranger has brought with them Wild Force Red, Wild Force Blue, Wild Force White. We've got Dane from Necessary Evil, has not been seen for like the longest time, and they finally made their return. But a lot of people have been questioning, how is the Death Ranger back? Well, it's not properly explained, but when Trini has a confrontation with the Death Ranger in this issue, the Death Ranger does say that due to serving Mistress Vile and Dark Specter, they've given them certain rewards, that being a body. So whoever body they're using right now, no idea, but we'll probably get an answer within the next couple of issues, because it could be anyone's body that they're using as a vessel right now. Speaking of vessels, we pick up where last month's issue left off on, where the vessel had refused to follow Rita's orders when she ordered him to take care of Grace. And the vessel is basically, he's nervous, he's stuttering his words, and Rita isn't taking shit from no one and basically backhands him and says, hey, you're a vessel, you don't think for yourself. You probably got this idea from visiting our mutual friend, and now somehow you've gained sentience, but you're a vessel. You don't think, you don't act, you obey and you follow, and you're going to be a vessel for Dark Specter. That's vital. So It's interesting to see the vessel gain some sentience or gain a conscience after visiting Zordon. So no doubt about it, after what happened a couple of months ago with that issue where the vessel confronted his consciousness, he must have had some moment where he realized that he wanted to make a difference and do his own thing, but Rita, being very powerful as Mistress Vile, isn't going to let any of that slide. So Matt then returns and Grace tries to apologize to him, but Matt basically tells her to stick that apology up her ass as he doesn't need it and he doesn't ever want it. So, with that said, Rita then says, let's get out of here, we've got a ritual to do, we can't waste any more time. While this is going on, the Rangers have tracked down Matt's signal to Promethea, but they don't bump into Matt, they bump into none other than Lord Zed in his brand new Ranger form. And I love Kimberly's reaction where she's like, oh hell no, I guess they'll give anyone a morpher these days, which is kind of funny with the line within itself, because that's probably like how like a lot of the fandom reacts to when a character just randomly morphs. It's like they'll give anyone a Super Saiyan transformation these days. So I just love that line. So Lord Zed, there's a lot of shit talking happening in this panel where Lord Zed's like, hey, I'm gonna kill Rita, get out of my way, but I'll give you Torona. And Torona's alive. Torona's alive right now, which is good. And Zed's like, consider this as a peace offering. But I'll advise you, you can't kill me in this form, even if you all try taking me on at the same time. And Kimberly's like, hey, if you're so powerful, why don't you do it right now? Do it, bitch, kill us. Kimberly's like, oh, I love Kimberly's like attitude she's been giving within like the past couple of issues. She's been like talking mad shit to everyone ever since like the story arc began and the stuff went down with Matt. Like she's been big mad at everyone. And Lord says like, I've got other things to do. I'll get you guys later. And he advises them that Rita's probably gone to Safe Haven because that's where the Master Arch is. And I'm going to go to Safe Haven and I'm going to kill her myself. And with Lord Zed walking away, Kimberly's pissed off because Tommy didn't do anything about it, so the two of them get into another bickering match. But Aisha is quick to break it up between the two because this is no time for fighting right now. And Rocky then questions, hey, shouldn't we head off to Safe Haven? But suddenly, Torona wakes up and says, not Safe Haven. Rita didn't go to Safe Haven, and then Billy asks, well, if she's after a Master Arch, wouldn't she be going to Safe Haven? And Torona replies with, no, there's another one, and it's on Earth. And then on the next page, we get the reveal that there's another Master Arch on the Bermuda Triangle, which is a really cool callback, because I know in the Turbo movie it was called the Nemesis Triangle, but it was basically the Bermuda Triangle, and they just changed the name, so it's cool to see, like, a Master Arch all the way out in the middle of nowhere, out at sea, that Grace has had her hands on for the longest time, but ages ago, Grace did tease or hint at Billy, saying, hey, everything we find, we don't have to tell you. So they've found this, and they've kept it hidden for the longest time, for God knows how long, with how Promethea operates, but they basically found another Master Arch on Earth, and that means the whole Safe Haven invasion was the biggest fake out, as Rita was never there the entire time. And she just sent her forces down there to capture that Master Arch, which is freaking amazing. I love it. So Rita is at the Triangle and she's going to get the next Master Arch, and this is where shit goes down within the next couple of pages, and I freaking love it. So Rita comes across the Master Arch in the Triangle and tries complimenting Grace on saying how much they fortified this Master Arch, and they should be impressed because this is their triumph. And out of nowhere, Grace just sucker punches Rita in the face and says, you think this is a triumph? You're being used, just like how Zed used you and Master Vile used you before him. And then she goes, yes, I know about you too. You think you're special? I can smell your daddy issues from a mile away. This was freaking awesome how Grace was just talking mad shit right in front of Rita, talking about her daddy issues, and she had her down to a T. She's got her info, she's got her files on Rita, and just talk mad shit to her right in her face. So Rita slaps her back and says, Matt, you deal with her. So after this, you have this moment between Grace and Matt, where Grace is trying to get through to Matt, but Matt isn't having any of this, and Grace gives this big speech to Matt by saying, hey, the Matt I know couldn't be broken so easy, and I could always see the goodness in him. I always have. And Matt's like, you don't know me or my mistress. And then Grace says, I know you'll blame yourself for whatever is about to happen, but I need you to know this isn't your fault. And this is a really good Grace moment, because Grace is sort of having a repeat with what happened to her and Zordon all those years ago. But Grace is taking responsibility for what happened. She knows that she messed up. She knows that she roped Matt into the situation. She's the one that gave him the morpher, but she knows this isn't Matt's fault. And she's the one to blame because she's the one that gave him the morpher and sent Matt into battle. So it's a nice moment between the two of them, and I am wondering if Grace is going to end up dying within the story arc, but I don't know. But it's just a nice moment between the two of them where Grace is actually feeling bad for everything that's happened and taking responsibility with what happened with Matt. After that, we then come back to Safe Haven, and you have the Omega Rangers standing across from the army of putties, the Thralls, whatever you want to call it, and Kevor's like, well, what do we do? And Trini goes, we do what we always do. We protect the innocent, protect the arch, and never give up. And they do their big group morph. And this is where the fight to protect Safe Haven begins, and it is freaking awesome. So you've got Arkin fighting off a bunch of grunts. You have Arkin coming face to face with the Death Ranger, but then Trini jumps in to fight the Death Ranger. And like I talked about earlier on in the video, it's when you find out the Death Ranger got a body for somehow serving Mistress Vile and Dark Specter. Who that body is, no idea, but it's cool to see Trini and the Death Ranger go toe-to-toe again, and almost look like they're on even footing with how this fight is going on. Trini is pushed back a little bit by them, but she's able to hold her own as the fight begins, which is really cool to see. So after that, you then have Zack facing off against Dane, which Zack was kind of confused because he thought that we arrested Dane, but Dane did get away at the end of Necessary Evil, so I guess he didn't really know about that. And then you've got Yale and Keva taking on the Wild Force Rangers plus a couple of putty grunts. And while this is going on, they're asking 11 for help, but 11's not responding. And then you've got this one panel where you see Alpha 1 rising up, looking like they're about to strike 11. So poor 11, 11's probably going to get put through the ringer once again. So hopefully we'll find out what happens to 11 within the next couple of issues or next issue moving forward. But things don't look good for him if you've got that menacing panel of just Alpha 1 getting off from the table and slowly approaching him from behind. So while Keva and Yale are facing off against the Wild Force Rangers, a giant tail comes slamming down. This tail belonging to none other than Serpenterra. And what we get on the next page is freaking fantastic. This blew my mind when I saw it. This rocked my socks off as soon as I saw it. Like, this is freaking amazing. I got a feeling we would be seeing something like this when Grace said that she had Serpenterra in her hands, and what we got looks freaking fantastic. So on the next page, you see Serpenterra's head in the form of a giant mech. So it's got its tail, it's got its head, it's got this Mecha Godzilla thing going on for it, and it looks freaking fantastic. It looks amazing. I love it. Like, I love the original Zord designs we get in the comics, and once again, this is another really freaking cool design we're getting with Serpenterra, and I'm glad we're seeing it in the comics. Like, this looks freaking amazing. And while this is going on, Lord Zed's wondering where the hell Rita is. But while this was going on, while Lord Zed was making his way to Safe Haven, Babu was trying to tell him, saying, hey, I was trying to tell you, Rita's not here. And Lord Zed's like, well, where is she? And of course, she's still on Earth. So I love it how Lord Zed just booked it to Safe Haven in his brand new Serpenterra Zord just to fuck shit up. And of course, she's not there. So the Rangers have an unlikely ally in this battle on Safe Haven, being Lord Zed and his brand new Zord. So I'm wondering if we're going to see the Omega Rangers Zords fuse with his Serpenterra Zord in the nearby future, because if we do, that will be freaking sweet. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the Rangers make it to Mistress Vile, but when they get there, it's too late and the ritual has already begun. And Rita begins saying this chant, from the darkness I beseech, an ancient evil throughout the breach. With this arch and the crystal's might, I cast pervasion of the morphin light. And from this infection I create a path for you to dominate. And may all who fear you be overrun, the darkest hour has begun. And that's pretty much where Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 110 ends up on, with Dark Specter seeping into this universe, about to possess the vessel, and I'm really excited for this upcoming story arc. This is going to be freaking fantastic. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. But as Rita was doing the chant, you could see Dark Specter, like I said, seeping into this world as the vessel was surrounded by this dark energy. And then, like I said, on the final page, you see that big menacing head of Dark Specter coming down, and this is freaking fantastic because this has been over a year of build-up with Dark Specter slowly making his moves, slowly making his appearance, and now we're going to have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers facing off with a pretty much famous villain from Power Rangers in space, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with Dark Specter seeping into this world and coming back now, because I was wondering how he would make his appearance, how he would show up, and now we finally have it. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen next moving forward. It is going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to talk about it on the channel. So, with that said, I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye!